Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Canucks Conversation, delivered to you by the great folks at DoorDash.
Ding dong.
You can use promo code CONVODD, capital C, capital D's, all one word, CONVODD. That will get you 25% off and free delivery with your first order with the DoorDash app. Does not get much better than that, folks. I just got a glimpse of myself in the camera. I didn't realize how far back this beanie went. You were making fun of my look today. David Quadrelli, joined by the man who built the place, Chris Faber. Our technical producer is Alex Lard. Canucks Conversation. I'm wearing a beanie today.
Yeah, Alex, flip it over. Let's see what Quads looks like here. He has got a spotlight on his bangs today, which I know people have given him crap for in the chat.
Well,
look at this. He is all bangs today. That's all he's rocking. This is a look you actually saw in the early 90s. If the rest of your head is shaved, it would just be bangs.
Well, the rest of my head isn't shaved. I got a full head of hair under here. Thank you very much.
That's good.
But
still young.
Oh, I was putting on the toque this morning, and my girlfriend said, "Hey, you look bald," because I had all the hair tucked in.
I've heard that before.
So I was like, okay, I obviously can't do that. So I went with this. I think it looks great.
Yep.
I'm not willing to hear it. High above Rogers Arena, we're here to talk about the Vancouver Canucks. Quickly, wanted to get to the YouTube chat because right away, Habero jumped in the chat and said the only positive thing about being a Canucks fan right now is being able to listen to you guys. Other than that, ... pain. Sam Wilson jumping in the chat saying, fire it up. Lisa Martin, Aiden Fox, everybody's jumping in.
Love our regulars there.
Yeah,
our regulars
love
are great
seeing the regular commentators.
Can I mention a listener of the show as well, personally?
Sure.
Okay, so last week I have all this drama with Amazon, right? All these delivery stuff and coming. I had an Amazon driver reach out to me last week. And he explained the whole situation to me. So and you know what? I feel bad saying that it was Amazon and calling them up by name. They're not the problem, okay? FedEx and Purelator are the people that are the problem. They're the ones who I'm not getting anything from. They're the ones who won't come up to the door and they can't use the buzzer. They just stick something on my mailbox. Then I got to walk 600 meters down the road.
Sorry, this is the most Amazon propaganda I've ever heard.
No, I'm with Amazon now.
You complained about Amazon's late delivery times, and a driver reached out to you and said it was FedEx's fault. And
No. I'll get to the Amazon thing. It's like I just say I jumped the gun a little bit. Amazon, they're good. They deliver stuff to the door, right to my door here in the apartment. It's all good. You know what I picked up the other day? You might have seen this commercial on, but at the World Juniors, alien tape. Have you seen this? Two-sided tape. It's so sticky. I used it. It reminded me of back in my football days wearing the cutter's gloves.
What did you need it for?
I don't know. It was a decent deal on Amazon. I picked it up. You know what I actually did? I'm using it. I bought all these Febreze things around the house. They smell up your house real nice. And I was like, I'd like to put one. What I want to do is like put one in the garbage, so that the garbage doesn't smell too bad, right? Because I think you get stinky garbage. You don't want to stink garbage, especially you got to take it out every day. So I got the alien tapes. Now I got one of those stuck into the top of the garbage there to clean. It's a Febreze small spaces, big places thing here. And so now I got the alien tape, but I got 3 rolls of it. So all I needed was like a half inch of alien tape. I bought 3 rolls.
Well, what did you need it for? You just said I needed a half it for what?
That's what I'm saying. The two-sided tape to stick it into you can see you open my garbage right now.
Okay.
We'll take you out there with the camera later. I'll show you what's going on. That's what we could actually do. That we start doing walk around my apartment. I could take camera 3 since it's on a phone right here. I could just walk around the apartment. But anyways, the Amazon, he reached out, listener of the show. He said he listens to the show while he's driving and has delivered some stuff to this address, delivered stuff to my door. I appreciate that, Amazon coming up. And he said that, yeah, Amazon, my house is at the end of their route. So this is why I get stuff at like 9 o'clock at night. We're at the very end of the Vancouver route. So a little bit of explanation there. And yeah, I shouldn't have been like that to the Amazon folks. It's the FedEx and the Purelator people and the DHF or whatever it is, DHM, DHL. They're out delivering rugby balls to the rugby sevens. Those are the people I'm worried about.
Jeffrey
Run
Lee,
down the street here.
Jeffrey Lee jumping in the YouTube live chat saying Canucks convo with the free ads now. Our number one rule is no free ads. And you're out here simping for Amazon.
No, I'm taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back on the free ads. I'm saying, yes, Amazon is cool. But hey, Purelator and FedEx, they better start delivering some cash if you want me to say some good things about you. Because I'll tell you what, everything they've done for me lately, I got to walk down the street. I got $400 worth of Old Navy stuff I got to pick up, 50% off sale. Anyone else that hit that up last week? No free ads, oldnavy.com. But I mean, there's a big box, and it would have been nice to just have it delivered. I could see a FedEx right there out the window there. I could see FedEx trucks. What are they doing? They're sticking things on the mailbox. They're not delivering anything to the door. They stick it on your mailbox, and that's it.
Okay. So Yeah, we're not even going to get into this. Kevin Punter jumped in the set, said Amazon Conversation live on the Nation Network.
What else do you want us to talk about?
Yeah, I don't know. How about the Canucks? Unbelievable is our first headline.
Look at Alex.
That was a good one.
Alex is getting a pay raise.
That was a good one for sure. The Boo Birds. They were out in the home opener of the Vancouver Canucks season. Canucks still looking for their first win of the season. They're 32nd. That's right, dead last, folks, in the National Hockey League. They don't have a win yet. The Carolina Hurricanes are in town. We're not going to preview the game too much because we don't want to date ourselves here in case the Canucks do come out and get a win. But the big news of the day,
possible.
Canucks lose Quinn Hughes. That's going to be relevant for a while because it's week to week. Brock Besser, who had a maintenance day on Sunday, is now considered day-to-day. Both of those updates coming from Canucks head coach Bruce Boudreau. Where do you want to start, Chris? Should we talk about the hole left in the lineup with Quinn Hughes out?
Let's start with Saturday night.
Sure, we're going to talk about this.
Let's start with Saturday night. I was in the building for it, and I'll tell you what, man. I wasn't at the game against the Penguins where everything happened. I don't know.
That was a tough game to be a part of.
Yeah, that was tough. But there was like immediately you could feel from like the introductions of like, this is his weird vibe for a team coming back without a win up to this point. The introductions I didn't feel went great even to that degree. Then you get to the game and the fans were pretty engaged. Like the fans cared. The fans were there. They were there for the home opener. They were excited. They wanted to see this Canucks team pull out a win and get that first win of the season, even though everything that's happened up to this point was crap. And this team didn't have a win going into their home opener. They showed up and they wanted a win. They didn't want to go in there to boo the Vancouver Canucks, but things just, fell completely apart in that third period. I thought the Canucks had a fine first 40 minutes. I know that Boudreau and Pettersson and some of these players in the post game talked about it being good. I think they were fine. Like it felt like the Buffalo Sabres, man. I can't get over Tage Thompson. This guy's unreal. Yeah, this guy's huge. He's got hands. He's quick. He is an excellent player. And I think that, I know he's just signed the big contract and everyone just looked at it, but like getting a chance to see him live, I'm like, well, okay. Like that contract, I kind of like it now at this point, just from one game of seeing what he can do. But we get to the point where there's jerseys on the ice, multiple jerseys on the ice, and then a hat to follow. It was a hat trick of jerseys. We saw 3 of them hit the ice, actually. That's, tough to watch. And I don't know. I don't really have like too much comment about the jersey thing. I think it's overused at this point. Like it meant a lot, I think, with when Benning got fired and all that situation. I think it meant a lot that day. But it didn't really like send a huge message. The fact that it was 3, though, like I think that it was kind of interesting to hear the players' reaction to it.
I heard it was 4.
I don't know if I saw 4. 3 jerseys and a hoodie, 4. I think.
Oh, geez.
3 jerseys and a hoodie. It just the vibe in there. And then, man, Sweet Caroline comes on. And, that was tough to watch. You knew it was going to come, though. You knew that was going to get booed. The part where it goes, bum, bum, bum. Instead, it was boo, boo, boo. And that was hard to watch. Like, the fans... you always hear like, oh, the people in the arena are different than the people online. The people online and the people in the arena were in sync last night. They were, or on Saturday night, they were extremely frustrated with what this team did. It was embarrassing to see that at the home opener.
It was, absolutely. And the chat's very active already here. People are talking about on the bright side, 1 win places them within 2 spots of a playoff spot. That's a really positive outlook on thing. And Nathan Andre is saying what I think a lot of, you just mentioned it, the fans in attendance and a lot of the fans online are becoming in sync with, and it's, I just want a real plan, new management, but same old BS. Like, you can't really argue with that, right? It is the same old BS. And again, Elliot Friedman talked about it on 32 Thoughts this morning about, kind of how people in the city are blaming ownership, and there's a lot of blame to go around, and ownership's definitely a part of that.
Yeah, I think a lot of blame has gone around to a lot of other things, and that just makes you question it. Like, that makes you question, what is the problem? What is the big problem here? Right, we've seen a coaching change. We've seen that, make a big shift into what we saw last season. But the same coach is here. I don't think they can move on from this coach at this point. Like that's not the move right now. But no. I think I found it interesting with like Jim Rutherford, who was on After Hours on Saturday, and give props to Jim Rutherford for actually showing up for that, because after everything that happened in the arena, I think a lot of people in a position of his would have not gone and done that post-game interview. And Scott Oak asked some pretty firm questions and asked some questions from the fans. And one of the things that Jim Rutherford said was, we don't want to make a panic trade. Is a panic trade, like, how much worse can things get? Like, you don't want to panic trade Pettersson, obviously, or panic trade, Quinn Hughes away, but
what the hell is a panic trade? Let's dissect this, because I had a problem with this. Okay, so a panic trade, right? And what he's referring to is everybody around the league knows you need a shakeup. Everybody around the league knows you need to get something. Look, the offers for JT Miller at the trade deadline last year weren't great in the Canucks' eyes. What do you think they are now? Like, you're not getting Lundqvist, Hedl, and a first. That was the Rangers package. You're not getting that at this point. So that's what he means by panic trade. I'm sorry. What's the minimum right now that you would trade JT Miller for?
Oh,
you get out of the contract, and I understand he's going to play better. I understand all that. And we're going to get into his comments today in a little bit here. But what's the minimum you're trading Miller for? Because if a team offers you like a first, maybe even just a second, are you taking that? Because look, the tank talk has started in the chat. People are talking about, should we just trade Demko and embrace the tank? Well, that's one way to do it, because you've seen what this team looks like when Demko's not playing like his normal self. And if you get rid of him altogether, Spencer Martin's not providing you with that level of goaltending that you're used to getting from Thatcher Demko. The Canucks are built as a team that relies on their goaltender, and you're starting to see the effects of that right now. It's not going to work out for them if they just keep relying on Demko. And again, like, I was chatting with someone before the show just about how, this team's very capable of going on a heater of 5 games. Maybe if they had Quinn Hughes in the lineup, that's a little bit more true. But they said, like, if Demko comes out and steals some games and starts playing the way he did, like he did last year, from November basically onward, right, when they played the wheels off him, it's possible that this team fights back. Is that what you want, though? Is that what you want at this point? And again, I know there's going to be a lot of fans out there that say, yeah, that's what we want. We want wins, of course. But there's also going to be a lot of fans, like the ones in the chat right now, talking about a tank and saying, no, we want a good draft pick. And again, I wouldn't trade Demko. I'm not entertaining that at all. I think you have 3 untouchables on this team right now, and that's Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, I almost say Connor Bedard for some reason.
About to be untouchable.
And Thatcher Demko. Those are your 3 untouchables, in my opinion. And look, I think what we've heard from management kind of reflects that, but I don't think you're in any position to be like, we need to be selling high on Horvat or Miller. I think you're in a position to say, we probably can't extend Horvat because we have Miller and OEL on the books. And with Miller, you're saying something's not right here. Something's not working out, and we're probably going to have to bite the bullet on this one. And again, I understand there's going to be people who say it's too soon to say that. I'm sorry, I'm at that point already. And again, I know it sounds panicky. I know it sounds like I'm going for a shock or whatever. You have to do something about this. You can't just say, well, Demko's going to come back and play like his normal self, and that'll fix everything. You don't want the same problem every year. Build a team that's actually capable of playing in front of a goaltender who's not playing like a Vezina caliber goaltender every single night. It's unreasonable to ask Thatcher Demko to do that for you every night.
I think you look at what's going to be in front of Demko tonight, and specifically on the defense core, and you think, wow, Guillaume Brisebois is going to be a guy who's going to be relied upon to keep the puck out of the net against what might be, the Carolina Hurricanes are a lot of people's pick to win the Stanley Cup this year. This could be one of the best teams in the league. I'd say it is. It's a top 5 team in the league right now that you're going to be going up against, and it is going to be a very tough look. We have the lines in front of us here. OEL and Myers as your top pairing, Jack Rathbone and Kyle Burrows as your top 4, rounding out your top 4. We're in game 7 right now, and Kyle Burrows and Jack Rathbone are rounding out your top 4 with Guillaume Brisebois and Luke Schenn following that up. Like, the confidence level is in the Canucks' play is one thing, but I think, you have to look at this roster and start to think that the confidence level might be even lower from what we're seeing be put on the ice tonight. The loss of Quinn Hughes week to week now is incredibly, it's going to just be such a letdown for this team to go out there. We know what this team looks like when Quinn Hughes isn't on the ice. The defense core, as Bryce said in the chat, ouch. Like, what else can you say about this defense core?
Jack Rathbone is going to be relied on very heavily tonight.
Well, and again, think about the way that Myers is used when he's a top 4 player. He's playing 22 minutes a night still. Yeah. You're now putting that pretty much on Jack Rathbone or Kyle Burrows. Was Kyle Burrows 24 minutes the other night?
Oh yeah, Kyle Burrows. They're going to play the wheels off Kyle Burrows too.
So that's the thing. Now you're asking for mid 20 minutes from Kyle Burrows. Is Oliver Ekman-Larsson now the 27-minute guy? Because that's not going to last very long. You're going to see another defenseman go on IR here pretty soon if it's OEL playing 27 minutes a night.
Absolutely. It's bad. The defense core is bad, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. Chat, I want to get to it. Bill Juan jumped in and said the team's unfortunately too good to tank, but not good enough to even make the playoffs. Absolute worst place to be. It's not just Bill saying this in the chat. It's Jannik Hansen. Jannik Hansen brought this up last year about how really the last 10 years of Canucks hockey have been defined by being just good enough that you're not actually bad enough to get any high picks. And let's not forget the one year that the Canucks resembled something of a tanking team when they moved Jannik Hansen and Alex Burrows at the trade deadline. They got Elias Pettersson. Like, that was the year they drafted Elias Pettersson. I understand they dropped in the draft lottery, but they drafted 5th overall in a deep draft, and it turned their franchise around. Like, I understand that the franchise isn't where they'd like to be right now. Elias Pettersson's a great building block to have, and if you didn't actually tank that year or do whatever that's the closest they've ever come to tanking in the last 10 years, you wouldn't have Elias Pettersson. Think about this team right now without Elias Pettersson. I know Quinn Hughes fell to them at 7, so it's a little bit different there. But that's why people are looking at this. And again, I understand the pursuit for Bedard is really sexy. People are looking at it and saying, wow, Bedard on this team, Vancouver kid, shout out Lynn Valley Barbershop. He loves it, right? But honestly, when you look at this draft class, the top 4 picks of this draft, from what I've been told, you probably know more than I do, top 4 picks of this draft are better than any first overall pick of the last handful of drafts, minus maybe Jack Hughes, right? Like,
yeah,
the top 4 of this draft is very deep. So again, I'm not saying you're going to get another Elias Pettersson if you draft 4th or 5th this year, but I'm saying that having a high draft position, having a good chance at getting Bedard, it's a fine consolation prize if this season is going to be, a write-off. And I can't believe we're talking about this 7 games in, because there's still time. There's still time for them to turn this around. Exactly. Like someone pointed out earlier, 1 win out of a playoff spot. So again,
but how many people have that thought in the chat? We have a lot of people in the chat here today. Is
not
anybody
many.
here? Like, let it know in the chat. Do you really think that the Canucks can come back from this, or is this the point where you already need to get to that point of thinking about seriously tanking? Like, not even like the situation is presenting itself right to you. Quinn Hughes is going to miss weeks of play. You're going to get to game 20 now without Quinn Hughes, right? Like, that's enough to tank the Canucks in its own right. Like, this situation is presenting itself so easily for this team to tank, and I think that might be the best thing to do for them right now. But it's hard to imagine. It was hard to imagine this team tanking when we came into the season, because I still look at this roster and I'm like, there's a lot of skill on this roster. There is. Like, when JT Miller is playing at a what he was doing last year at 100-point pace, that's a really good look for this team. When he's playing like that, he's clearly not playing like that. When Elias Pettersson is playing like he did last year to finish the year, he is playing like that. He's looking great. Elias Pettersson has, I think, been the, like, if you're going to pay for anything to watch the Vancouver Canucks right now and go to the rink, Elias Pettersson is still that. What else are you paying for going to the rink right now to go for the Canucks, right? Like, it's really hard to watch. Like, can we get to the Miller quote then?
In a sec.
Okay.
Chat is reacting to your question. You asked if they could come back. People are saying, one person, corn-fed prepper, said they come back. Knopp said, do we want to come back? And then Kevin Punter said, I think they can come back. Not against Carolina. They're without a doubt the fastest team in the NHL, apart from Colorado.
But
G. Ellis jumping in the chat with the score prediction of Nucks will lose tonight 6-5. And
is this not like the game the Canucks win, though? Right? Like, an incredible team coming in here. One of the top 3 teams, I think, in the NHL.
You think they're going to win tonight?
You're missing Quinn Hughes. Like, no, but I don't think they will. But if they are going to win, like, this feels like it, right? Like,
really?
It does. Right? To me, it does.
I think no.
If you watch the Canucks for long enough, this is a game that they win.
I'm trying to figure out what's in that energy drink can.
Well, so am I. This thing has got me buzzing up here.
It's got you predicting a Carolina loss.
This thing is straight from Lisa's backyard down in the States here. You got to go down, get this across the border to bring it across.
Okay. Let's get to this Miller quote. You got it?
You can pull it up here, Alex.
Yeah. JT Miller speaking to media today. He was asked again.
He was not happy today.
No, he was not. Asked again about the jersey toss. Bo Horvat talked about this, and Bo Horvat, said, I understand their frustrations. He mentioned how he had seen his jersey on the ice just a year ago and how that's really tough to see. PD said, I understand the fans' frustration. Horvat again saying we didn't give him much to cheer about. But JT Miller
said, I don't give up.
Yeah, he said, I didn't have one asked for a reaction, by the way. Asked for a reaction on the jersey toss. He said, I didn't have one after the game, and I still don't have one. If they want to throw their bleep on the ice, that's up to them. I'm not worried about if people want to come to the game, pay all that money, and throw their jerseys on the ice. Go ahead. I've got a job to do. I'm worried about beating the Canes tonight and having a good start to the game and us really trying to come together as a team.
I didn't realize he said go ahead when asked about throwing jerseys on the ice. Be careful with that.
I was writing the headline at Canucks Army, and I was like, is it too, I don't know what the right word is, too hacky, I'll use the word hacky, to say JT Miller encourages fans to throw their jersey on the ice?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
But it's like, you
Obviously,
know what?
That's not what he meant, but yeah.
I think the boos say enough. I don't want to see a jersey on the ice again tonight. Okay, like
Miller does.
You know, he says go. Yeah, but 7. Listen, the score is 7-1. We're into the third period. I don't want to see another jersey on the ice, but the arena is going to be vocal enough in its own right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you know, it is going to be loud enough in its own. But what are you laughing about?
Well, Jackson Owell jumped in the chat and said people were joking about Bieksa having to play, and now it's actually realistic.
Yeah. Well, the Sedins were out early with Vasily Podkolzin and working some face-off stuff.
Sedins looked like they could suit up, folks.
Well, that's what we're looking at today. Practice only had 3 guys there at practice, and I was like, there was only 3 lines at practice.
Yeah.
3 forward lines.
Yeah, Madeline Preston.
What's the 4th line was the Sedins and King. We're playing a 4th line role together.
Madeline Preston getting in on the interaction here, saying, I don't like Miller's answer. He's acting like fans want to see them lose. He should be even more frustrated than us, particularly with the way he's playing. Kind of labored through that particularly there, but particularly with the way he's playing. And I think that's fair game.
People are online here. They're talking about this pumpkin patch thing. I don't think this pumpkin patch thing happened either. I don't think it's happening. If it did,
that sucks. That's awful.
Sure. If it did, it sucks, but I'm not trusting individual _P69 420 44
We're not
51
we're not getting into
Reddit.
this.
That's not, I don't believe it for 1 second, by the way. I just want to get that out because I see a lot of people are talking about that, you know, and yeah, if it's true, that's horrible. I don't think it happened. I'm just saying, I don't trust every Reddit guy.
Good thing you brought it up. Totally unprompted.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't trust it. I don't trust it one bit.
Okay.
Bad news on top of bad news. Let's cover the rest of the injuries here. Quinn Hughes, he's going to be out week to week. We talked about that. Brock Besser, he will also not play tonight and Monday against the Hurricanes. He is going to be day to day. Like I said, won't play tonight. Travis Dermott, week to week. Tucker Poolman goes to the IR. Riley Stillman is day to day. You know, everyone's injured. So, like, remember how the Canucks last season, everything went their way after Bruce Boudreau was hired. Now nothing's going their way. And this is just kind of like, you need to know that the pendulum swings in this direction sometimes. It's not always going to be great and positive and the best thing happens. Things are going to happen that are bad for this team, and we're seeing it right now with the injuries. And heck, Guillaume Brisebois getting in the lineup tonight, man. It's wild. We can bring up the lines a little bit here too. I do have the lines. I didn't want to tweet out lines from today's practice. Like I said, 3 forward lines. They were, you know, Pettersson wasn't on the ice. Kuzmenko wasn't on the ice. Mikheyev weren't on the ice. So the lines today that we saw, I don't think are anything, but I do want to bring back the lines from Sunday now, so you can pull this one up. Ilya Mikheyev, Bo Horvat, JT Miller. So we see Miller on the wing here. I think this is an opportunity. Like, would it shock you to see Miller look better on the wing tonight? Not me, not at all.
No,
like, it wouldn't shock me at all to Miller actually have a good game tonight because he's playing on the wing and not make as many of those bad passes that Luke Shen needs to talk to you about as you go to the intermission. Like, I think that him playing the wing is going to be better for him. It wouldn't shock me to see the best game of the year from JT Miller this season.
Yeah.
Which isn't like setting a very high bar.
No, it's
literally one of those bars that you just need to step over. But I mean, like, that tonight wouldn't shock me to see Miller have a good game.
I mean, yeah, finally, like, I talked about it every show last week, moving him to the wing. And I honestly, like, I didn't even get pushback from the chat or anybody on that. I didn't have, and why would I? There was no wins, right? So again, like, I threw it out last week, move him to the wing and see what happens. And like, playing with Bo Horvat, sure, it's fine, I guess. Like, that's what I've been clamoring for, is putting him on the wing. I have no reaction to it other than I think this is going to work out better than him at center. He's been getting absolutely caved in. And the chat's jumping in and saying how many boos are there going to be tonight. Also, some people jumping in on Pumpkin Patch Gate, saying that they had friends who got photos with them. So this is something we could actually ask them, but obviously off the record and kind of figure that out.
I don't want to ask today.
Yeah, it was not the day to ask after that.
It was not.
It was not the day.
He would have said another few 4-letter words if you asked about that. I mean, the question here as well is something in the chat. You know, how long is it till fans start booing goals, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, fans are... Listen, this Connor Bedard kid, he's a local kid. He's going to be the first overall pick. He's talked about as the first franchise player we've seen in a draft since what? Since McDavid?
Yep.
Right? Like since McDavid, this is probably the best player to come through the draft. You watch what this kid does. You watch what Fantilli's doing in the NCAA, leading in scoring as a kid who's draft eligible. That's ridiculous in its own right. There should be, Michkov, I know he's stuck in SCA for like another 5 years, but he's going to be a player that's going to be another one who can maybe change your franchise. You have 3 players there in this draft that can change your franchise. So I think that the more and more we see here, I think the team, the fan base is probably going to start to get really invested in what these top prospects could do to the organization. And I mean, Bedard's going to come in year 1 and make a massive impact. Fantilli's going to come in year 1 and make a big impact. These prospects, you mentioned it, like this draft is different, man. This draft is built different. This is the one you should be looking forward to.
So what's the hashtag? Like it was hashtag lose for Hughes before. What is it for Bedard?
I've seen a couple of swear. I can't say the swear word ones.
Yeah, don't say the swear word ones.
Somebody in the chat can let us know.
Play silly for, what's the guy's name? Fantilli?
Yeah, I guess so.
Play silly for Fantilli.
Be bad for Bedard or something like that.
Yeah, that rhymes.
Yeah, we're just looking for.
Bill Hunt jumped in the chat and said that Miller quote sounds like something out of Letterkenny. And Lisa Martin with a really good point, kind of one we want to echo. Again, we don't know about Pumpkin Patch Gate if it's true yet. But again, just general rule of thumb. Don't drag family members into the team's woes. Like, again, I know Miller had the quote that we're picking apart. They're
talking about the
frustrated
game,
too.
though.
They're frustrated too. They don't feel good about what's happening. Even if Miller is trying to stay somewhat positive when he's speaking.
The Canucks fan base is smart. The Canucks fan base is engaged. I'm very curious to see what the reaction from the fans are towards JT Miller tonight. We saw boos at the end of last game when he was touching the puck.
Yeah,
Miller was taking boos from the fans on Saturday night.
Doesn't surprise me. Not jumping in the chat saying discard for Bedard. Rails off for Michkov.
That's good.
Yeah, those are some pretty good ones. Okay, let's get into our next thing. You wrote covering this team is hard.
Well, no, I didn't get one more thing. Bad news on top of bad news. One more thing I want to talk about. Elias Pettersson. You can pull this one up, Alex. Put this one together too. Elias Pettersson. He's been a bright spot, right? At least we have something to look forward to every game. It just seems like the line that Elias Pettersson's playing on has been something that we can at least hope for to see something good out of. And it looks like he's going to be with the Puck Buddies tonight again. He's going to be with Vasily Podkolzin, Niels Höglander, Puck Buddy shirt. You can check it out right now on the Nation Network. One of I designed this shirt, so it's good.
Nation Gear.
Nation Gear, Nation Shop, something like that.
No, Nation Gear. I just said it. It's
not NationGear.com. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Nation Gear.
Puck Buddy shirts available. Pettersson, and Bruce Boudreau brought this up. He said that Pettersson came out to him before the Buffalo game and said, Bruce, I'm going to be better in the face-off dot.
NationGear.ca. Sorry, continue.
He said, I'm going to be better in the face-off dot. And what does he do? He goes 9-3 in the face-off dot against Buffalo. -3 on the day. So not the best game for Pettersson either. But also hasn't scored in the last 2 games here. No points in the last 2 games. So I think Pettersson tonight, see what he can do. He's going to be playing with Podkolzin and Höglander, I think, unless we see a little bit of a changes to the lineup. So that's a little piece of positivity there.
Sure.
All right. You okay with that? You're okay with a little positivity there?
Yeah, that word that you just
this
said.
Energy drink's hitting me, man. This thing is
positivity.
Normally my eyes aren't even very open on the thing, but now they're wide open. I'm staring right into the camera.
All right. That's enough here. Okay. You've written this headline here. Covering this team is hard. Can you please explain yourself?
Yeah, you check the outline here.
Well,
a whole bunch
sure,
of stuff
covering the team's hard, but people have harder jobs than us, right?
Okay, but we don't need to bring other people's
jobs.
Well,
I'm just saying, I don't know which direction you're going to go with this, but I don't want this to turn into a pity party for us.
No, if you read the damn outline, one of these days here, what I'm saying is this team is stuck between a rebuild and trying to compete for the last 8 years.
You think fans don't know that or feel the same frustrations as us?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just like we hear so much, and we heard Rutherford talking about this in after hours. Like, are they, this team might be in a rebuild. What did he say? The fan base may not understand.
It was something along the lines of
how long
people don't understand how long rebuilds are. Look, man, it's been 10 years. Like, everybody understands how a rebuild could have been over and finished years ago. Instead, like we've talked about, they're in this state of mediocrity that looks like it's never going to end.
And that sucks.
I'm not even going to get into it. It's just, you look at that OEL trade, the OEL Garland trade, the most unnecessary thing ever. Like, that was to go all in to make the playoffs, and they still couldn't do it. Like,
They finished worst in the Pacific.
Oh, just awful. Just
you have
awful.
the record here, Alex. You can pull this up here. It's hard to look at the Canucks record and over the past, 10 years now, pretty much, and see this team wasn't in a rebuild, right? Like, look at how this team has finished. Last year, they finished 5th of 8 in the division. The year before that, they finished last in the Canadian division. They make the playoffs in 1920, and that was a lot of fun. But then the years before that, like 5th out of 8 in the division, 7th out of 8, 7th out of 7th. How does that looks like a rebuild, right? Like this should be a team that's added picks and traded away players at the deadline. But I don't know. I don't even really want to go back through this, man. It's just
but back to my other point with Tank Commander Willie at the helm. 7th of 7th in the Pacific. You get Elias Pettersson. That's their worst finish other than the Canadian division year. But they traded their first round pick that year. So
looking at this,
didn't have a chance.
And this record thing in front of it, it's just like it's a cycle after cycle of mediocrity, right? And just having that be what your organization is known about, and that just isn't known. It's not just Canucks fans that know that. This is a league-wide thing, knowing that the Canucks want to just be good enough to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like what they're reaching for every year is to just sneak into the playoffs and see what happens. It's so tough to watch this team do these things. And this is what I mean, where it's covering this team is hard because fans were ready for a rebuild. Fans wanted a rebuild. It's unfortunate because I think seeing what the other path would have led to, that the Canucks could have gone down in the previous years, it felt like it would be such a better time right now. Would we be even talking about like what Dylan Guenther looks like if he's maybe making the lineup this year for the Canucks, or what some other prospects are doing, or having this defenseman who might be Quinn Hughes' partner down the road? You could do all these things if your team did the rebuild the right way, right? Like think about some of the second round picks they could have added with extra players, and it's like, man, and that's what I'm just saying with cover this team is hard, man. And we talk about the rebuild after the last year, and listen, I cover Canucks prospects probably more than anybody. Okay, I don't think anyone's near covering the prospects like I do. I watch a lot of these prospects. I watch a lot of the other prospects. I don't think the Canucks probably have a bottom 5 prospect pool in the league. Jeez. We're at this point with this team's record, and maybe it's too harsh.
No, I don't think it is.
I think the Canucks have a bottom 5 prospect pool.
I don't think you're wrong.
There's not a defenseman on that list that's coming up to play games, I don't think.
Breezeball just got recalled for the 90th year in a row.
Okay, yeah. Breezeball has been here before I was born. Myron Berg, like Jonathan Myron Berg is your best bet. Would you drafted that guy in the 6th round?
Yeah.
Man, it's tough. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel here, because I just think the tunnel is just, there's nothing in there.
Chat is very active here. Also, another record high on viewers and chat members, so we appreciate it. Virtual Reality Channel jumped in.
Maybe these people are right, where they're like, the media, they love it when the negativity happens. Like, yeah, this is the most people we've ever had.
You guys are coming out strong.
But I hate that. I'd rather be here talking about the Canucks 100%. Like 5-1 and having like 80 people in the chat live right now. But instead, the Canucks, everything sucks.
Yeah, exactly. We would rather cover a winner with 8 people watching than a loser with way more people watching. Yeah. And again, people are going to start checking out at some point. Again, we appreciate all of you in the chat, but people are going to check out at a certain point. Chat is very active. Like I said, Virtual Reality Channel jumped in, said people would enjoy watching young players develop despite losing during a rebuild. There's lots to talk about. I know you'd love it.
Oh, I'd love it.
That's great for the Faber brand. As we were just talking about media agendas, the Faber brand.
Oh, yeah, that's the brand I'm on. You give me some more prospects here. I'm saying Jonathan Lecarimaki, he's playing on the weekend there.
Jarhead jumping in saying Horvat's going to be gone. Why would he want to re-sign with this mess? Absolutely. Like, I've been thinking that in the sense, not so much of, well, he won't want to stick around, because all indications are that Bo wants to get something done. He's not taking a hometown discount. No. Any idea of a hometown discount is gone if it wasn't there, or if it wasn't gone already. There's no way Bo Horvat's taking a hometown discount to sign here. And even though people were convinced that Miller was the one that took a hometown discount to sign in Vancouver.
Is it?
Imagine Miller doesn't have a contract and comes into this season and plays like this.
Oh my God, man. I'll tell you what, that's the other thing we're saying. Like, hey, obviously there's going to be a lot of talk about, and we got a thing up in the chat right now, a poll question. Do the Canucks sell it all and rebuild? 85%, 78% now say yes. with JT Miller, it's like we heard from Patrick Alvin that the no trade doesn't kick in until next season.
Yep.
But what team's looking at JT Miller and saying 7 years, $8 million from what he's played like so far? I think teams will look at him and like, I don't think it's as bad as some people think, where it's like no team wants JT Miller at that contract. But it is harder now. Like I would have said remember at the start of the season when this was brought up a little bit, like after Alvin confirmed that the no trade doesn't kick in until next year. And I think, I said on this show, there's no chance that happens, right? Like there's no chance that happens. They've invested in Miller. This team has invested in him. Now it's like, I think things have changed so much that it's like, how many teams would be interested in JT Miller at this point at that next contract? I think that the start of this season, the comments that we're seeing in the media, things like that, it's like he's not doing any favors to raise his own value, and maybe that's fine. Maybe he's content with sticking here in Vancouver and making $8 million for the next 7 years.
I think what's really
it's a pretty good spot to be in.
I think what's really interesting is if you had Miller on this contract, let's say last season at the trade deadline, there's a lot more teams looking to trade for him. Because remember,
99-point player.
We were told that one of the hangups in trading Miller was that people wanted to talk extension with Miller, and that gives a lot of control to the player, but people weren't sure what they were going to have to pay on the next contract. And again, we've talked about how, Miller would have got more on the open market. He left money on the table. If Miller didn't have this start, Canucks probably winning some more games, admittedly, sure. But you're able to move Miller on this contract. And I think there's almost a point where you have to hope that he starts to put up points again and convince the league that this was just a rough start and he's fine. Everything's fine in Vancouver. Maybe they start winning games. I don't think Miller turning his season around should shift the conversation of, okay, that was a bad thing that happened, but everything's fine now. I think the conversation has to stay at, hey, that was really alarming in year -1 of this extension. The extension hasn't even kicked in yet. If we can get anything of substance for him, we do it. Because someone who's even in the chat earlier said, would you trade Miller for a 7th round pick just to get out of the contract?
Oh, I don't know.
No, it's not at that stage yet, folks. Although, holy smokes, I can't believe that was
Finn
said.
has it here in the chat. Canucks fans need to chill. It's 6 games and they should have won half of them. But how many years have we saying the Canucks should have won this game?
Exactly.
And what do you think other teams are saying when they see Bo Horvat say like, I thought we outplayed them that game? Do you think the other team's like, yeah, you know what? The Canucks did outplay us that game, but we did win 5-3. Like, I don't think teams are looking at that and saying the same things that the Canucks are thinking. Like, I think teams are thinking they're coming in and beating the Canucks and playing better than them throughout the game. I don't agree with when a lot of these Canucks players are saying in the locker room post game, say, we were the better team tonight. I don't think the other team's ever thinking that when you come out with a win. They might have been a better team for a certain amount of minutes, but they're just absolutely blowing leads and making these huge mistakes where I don't think it's just about looking at the control of the shot share throughout the game, because you can't measure in the shot share of like, hey, you can't measure these giveaways and these huge glaring mistakes that the Canucks make. That doesn't show up in a Corsi percentage or, a shots on net debate between the two teams who puts up more shots on net. These massive giveaways that result in goals, I don't even think it results in like high danger chances or some of these more advanced stats and scoring chances and everything, because the Canucks mistakes that they're making are so huge. JT Miller flubbing a puck behind him to absolutely no one is so huge that there's not like a stat that measures ridiculous mistakes for a team and how they lose games, because that needs to be thought about when you're talking about who's the better team tonight. It's not about 45 minutes of having more shots than the other team. It's about including the 45 minutes of shots, but also these huge mistakes, these huge defensive gaffes where you just completely give the other team an opportunity to score a goal in your goaltender, leaving Thatcher Demko out to dry. That part needs to be thought about when you're talking about, we were the better team tonight. We thought we were the better team. No, not when you include these mistakes that this team has been making in these first 6 games. You were not the better team most nights in these games that you've lost every single one of.
Yeah, and again, I just want to kind of add here, Thatcher Demko is not free of blame here. And I hate to say that as the goalie guy on this show, but Thatcher Demko hasn't played.
But I talked to OEL last night or yesterday after practice, and OEL said, like, I asked him, like, hey, is it time for you guys to go out there and win a game for your goalie?
That's right.
How many games did he win for you last? I asked him that. I said, he won a lot of games for you last year. Thatcher Demko carried you guys through a lot of games last year. He said, you're absolutely right. And it's time for the defense to step up. And specifically, he mentioned him and Myers as a pairing. They're the veterans. They were relied upon to look good defensively last year. They're the ones that need to step up. So, tonight's your night. Quinn Hughes isn't going to be here for weeks. You're now relying on top pairing of OEL and Tyler Myers. They're going to be playing 18 minutes of 5-on-5 together tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
18 minutes of 5-on-5 you're going to get of that pairing tonight. And this is, good luck. Good luck to them. They know they need to be better. So lots to ask.
Okay, we'll close out the covering this team chat with a comment from Jarhead of I support a rebuild, but maybe it's best to move overseas for a few years and forget about the Canucks during that time. Take us with you.
Well, I don't know. We got our listeners in Australia. They're overseas, and they're still still dealing with it here in their own right. So you can't get away.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
Can't get away.
Okay,
all right,
let's get to the prospects report. I'll take off the headphones, and then we've got our Betway pick of the day.
Okay, sounds good. Let's maybe here's the answer here. There's a lot of things that have proven me wrong. Neil Zaman coming in and being an NHL player off the top's one thing. Maybe people were right saying that Danila Klimovich is the answer. Here's his goal from last night. Danila Klimovich coming in. You'd like to see the goal from the 19-year-old in the AHL. Gets his wrist shot off here. 2-on-1, enough space for him to get his shot off, and he absolutely rips it into the top corner off the goalie's glove and in. The Abbotsford Canucks ended up losing big in this one, but this was a big goal. This gave the Canucks a 3-2 lead early in the first period. It was a 2-on-1. Klimovich got just enough space to get his wrist shot off, and he ripped it into the top corner. I think he's been a little bit better this season. I don't think he's at the level just yet of really starting to impress me about his defensive play, but there are certain things where I'm seeing the effort level has risen with Klimovich. He's getting a little bit better at doing the things that you want to see, back checking, being able to get a stick on someone, skating hard when he's coming back in the defensive zone. And then you just see the shot. The shot's good. I saw Jeremy Colleton talking about it today on Donnie and Dolly. The raw skills with Klimovich are so there, but he needs such fine tuning to get to the professional level and be successful, specifically at the NHL. I really like what this kid brings. I think that there's a lot of offensive potential there. I think his shot is already at an NHL level. It's just going to be about consistency, which I have seen more of this year. Like last year, there was a lot of really bad flubbed shots that he didn't get on net, shots that he just missed completely wide or just fanned on them entirely. But this year, his shot is more consistently at least going towards the net, which is huge. So I like to see that from Klimovich. I think he's off to a better start in the AHL season. And listen, he's 19 years old. There's still a lot to see what happens with him moving forward. So off to a good start so far in the AHL. Your boy, Canucks Conversation, he was perfect through 40 minutes in his debut with Harvard. But they were playing Guelph. They ended up winning 9-0. I think he had in 40 minutes, maybe 6 shots against him here. But Canucks Conversation, he's perfect through 40 minutes. He's the best. He's the best goaltender in the system here aside from Demko. Let's get to some Saturday SHL stuff. I had the big day for Canucks prospects on Saturday in the SHL. Elias Pettersson, DPD, played a season high in the SHL. He had 12:35 of ice time. Good to see the defenseman getting that much ice time after he put up a point earlier in the week. We talked about that last week on the show. Lucas Forsell, he also played a season high on that Saturday, playing 12:21 in the SHL. Good to see from him getting that more opportunity. A little bit of power play time. You'll love to see that for Lucas Forsell. And finally, best prospect we ever talked about on the show, Philip Johansson. He also had a season high in the SHL with 22 minutes and 36 seconds in the SHL. So a decent little prospect wrap up on the weekend there. Not a lot of big scoring from the Canucks top scorers like Karamaki and Aiden McDonough. It wasn't really a big weekend for them. But some of these guys having big minutes in the SHL, I thought it was a productive weekend for a bottom 5 prospect pool.
Great. You did great. I always appreciate your prospect report.
Well, I'll tell you what, this thing is whooping my ass here. This G Fuel here. Oh my goodness.
Okay. Our Betway picks of the day. You know what? I'll take this one from you, Chris. We don't even have to get into what you picked.
Oh, I'm good. This thing's keep me buzzing. Keep me going, Alex. Bring it up. Pull it up, Alex.
Oh, you've got bets. Okay. Because I was going to say, we've got Nikhil Velji has joined us at Canucks Army, and he's going to be doing the Betway bet of the day.
Well, I got a bet of the day too. Pull it up, Alex.
Okay,
I got this energy drink. I'm at the bottom of it here. This thing is this put me through the roof here. 6.5 total goals. Here I gave 2 options for folks here. Here's what my 2 options for the night. Do I think the Carolina Hurricanes are going to have a really good game from Svechnikov? Probably. So I'd probably lean towards that one, but I think you're going to see over 6.5 goals tonight. Svechnikov to get 2 points and over 6.5 goals. Maybe you even want to parlay in a win for the Hurricanes, or maybe you want to parlay a win for the Canucks. You probably got a decent little mix there at that point. So that's what I'm going with. Betway must be 19 plus. Bet responsibly. Betway. Betway.
All right. We'll wrap it up there, folks.
I need to walk around.
We got 4 more shows this week. I hope you have more of those energy drinks ready to go.
I don't think I can do this one again. This one is my fiance. She's a nurse. She told me she wanted to be here when I drank this thing.
She jumped in the chat and said, "What did I tell you about that G Fuel?"
She actually
did.
Yes, she is in here.
All right, with that, we'll wrap it up there. I'm
feeling good. I can't feel my heart beating through my chest, so that's good. I'm breathing still, so
I can't feel my heart. And
you can't leave for the next hour though, Quads. You got to stick around and check on me.
Okay, for my co-host Chris Faber.
I didn't get this in either. I wanted to show that I got a quick fix for the Canucks on the back end here. This guy, bring him back here.
And Faber is flashing a Nikita Triumkin card at
Look at that
camera for the podcast.
Marquee
listeners.
rookie. It's the Rainbow Platinum OPG. Shout out Zephyr Epic.
Okay.
The Nikita Triumkin card. This guy, I tell you.
What's he up to? Absolutely nothing for this team right now.
What's he up to? You got Guillaume Brisebois playing in the lineup.
Okay. Enough.
There he is.
Okay. For my co-host Chris Faber, who I am now muting, my name is Dave Quadrelli. Thank you so much. And our technical producer, Alex Allard. Thank you so much. We'll see you to another episode of the Canucks Conversation.
Bring back Triumkin.
Thanks for listening to Canucks Conversation, delivered by DoorDash. Hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode.
How about keep it to a thank you, Jim?